What's up, everybody? It's Token Guy here, and I am excited to bring you a DeFi Tuna guide video with their new PnL calculator, which is absolutely amazing. This is the first thing that I've seen on Solana with this kind of tooling and charting and things like that. And this is really going to help us be able to make educated, good decisions about how we want to set up our pools. So if you haven't seen already, DefiTuna uses Orca's API. It's a CLMM, so we're LPing, right? A concentrated liquidity market maker. We're LPing or liquidity providing, and it allows us to be able to earn fees. And so with DefiTuna, you can leverage 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x leverage, using that leverage to earn even more on your pools. And so we're going to take a look today at the new calculator. This is really, really exciting. This is going to be coming out within the next few days. And so they gave me access to it to be able to check it out, learn a little bit about it, give some feedback, and also to be able to create this video. So I'm super excited to do that. And so we're going to jump right in. Obviously, you can see this new look. They did say they're going to be make it to where you can move this to the right side if you prefer, because a lot of different platforms have that if that's what you're used to. And so we're just going to start off here by adding some collateral, right? So we're going to add 5 Solana. The amount of collateral you add or what collateral you add doesn't make a huge difference, because whenever you go to set your borrow, this will actually swap automatically depending on how you set it up. And so I'm going to start with just a simple 2x. Obviously, you can go higher than this, but I really like 2x. I think it allows you to earn twice as much on the fees, but not have too much risk as well. And so this is really, really cool. So whenever you set up the pool, basically what you're doing here is you're setting up an LP just like you normally would. You're going to have 2 different assets here. And so even though I'm depositing 5 SOL into this, you can see that I have 50% of the pool will be Solana and 50% will be USDC. And then you also want to set up your range down here to also match that. And so I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here. Another feature that they added, you can see the yield here is showing on the 24 hours. This is 1-day yield. And obviously it's very high, but that's at a very tight range. And so we're going to be looking at going wider than that. And we're going to see what we can get to here. And so let's see. We're going to go all the way down to 105, or let's go down to 110. Yeah, we'll do it around here. So 109-ish, we'll do 10% that way. And we're going to do a little bit more. We're actually going to go 12% to the high side just in case. But we're still going to try to get into a delta neutral position. Okay, so there's a few different positions. Actually, let me talk about a few different ones here. And so you can see whenever we're on a 50-50 here, if you're doing a 1x, which is basically just a typical LP position, meaning you're not leveraged at all. If you're in a 50-50 position, meaning a Solana and USDC position, you are essentially so long at a basis. And you can see that because this is what the calculator is showing here, right? And so this is normal. Anytime the price of Solana goes up, your pool will automatically be in profit no matter what, whether it's a lot of fees or no fees, it'll just automatically be in profit because it's selling the Solana on the way up, and Solana is now worth more. So you are fully so long, if that makes sense. Whereas if it goes down, you're losing value here, right? And so for us to get to a position where we are delta neutral, we're trying to offset the downside while also offsetting the high side. And so this is one of the strategies I've been using. But the great thing about DefiTuna is that you can set up so long positions, you can set up short positions, and you do that by just leveraging. So we're going to borrow 2x, because that means that we have 1x as our assets, and then 1x is going to be the assets that we're borrowing. It's a perfect even amount. And so if we borrow 100% SOL, you can imagine our original position is 50-50. It's fully SOL long. So if we have a second position and we're fully SOL short, which is what happens when you borrow 100% SOL, you're now in an even position, offsetting, which is what we would call a delta neutral position. And in this case, it's what I would call a pseudo delta neutral position, because you can't get perfectly delta neutral. And you can see that because at the ends of the range, the idea here is that it would be minimized, right? But there's still some loss at the end of the range. Now, it's not a lot, but it is some. And this is, you can set the time range here. And so right now we're at 0 time, right? And so that means that if the price moves either direction within seconds, you're going to be in a loss, obviously, if it moves too much. But obviously, we're going to be in these pools for some amount of time. And so the goal here, obviously, we're very wide here with this range at 10.3% and 12.2%. This will move a little bit as the price of SOL moves, but it'll stay roughly around this area. And so the goal of this is to stay in it for at least 1 day, if not longer. Now, they don't have auto compounding, but they do have manual compounding that will be with this. And so as you're collecting fees, you can actually compound back in as many times as you want. There is a small fee with it, so you don't want to do it like every 30 minutes unless you have a lot of money in there, but you want to make sure that it makes sense to do it. I would say do it at least once a day. And so you can see here, the longer that we stay in range on a delta neutral position, 1 day, we'll be in profit as long as the price stays between 112 and right here around 131, right? And so this is just for 1 day. If we can stay in range for 2 days, here, we'll just do this. If we can stay in range for 2 days, we're in profit all the way on either side. Obviously, the closer to the middle, the better. And you can see here that we're at a 3% yield on the 24-hour. This is 3% per day on USDC. And we can go even wider. You know, you can go even wider if you're saying, you know what, 3% is really high. I'd like to reduce my risk. I'm okay earning a little bit less, right? Like you can even go all the way out here to where you're at 1% and you're below $100 and you're all the way above $150 and you're still earning 1.26% per day. And the goal of this would obviously be to stay in this for 4 days or 5 days or even longer because you have such a wide range to be able to earn even more on this delta neutral position. And so the goal of the delta neutral is that it reduces your downside, which is what we saw whenever we created like this, right? You can see here whenever we create a position that's not leveraged, a typical LP position, that anytime it goes down, well, this is if we stay in it 5 days, but you can see from a default, anytime it goes down, you're automatically losing as far as the value. And as it goes up, you're automatically gaining. Now that's on a 1x position. As soon as you go to leverage though, you can see that that changes, and it changes depending on how much you're borrowing as well, because we could do a 50-50 borrow here and just still be SOL long if we believe that SOL is going to go up. But of course, then we wouldn't want to have this large downside here, right? And so you want to set your range. We would set it up something like this, right? We want to set our range up to match what we're borrowing, if that makes sense. And so if we're borrowing at a SOL long here at 75%, then we would want our range to be less on the short side because we're believing that it's going to go up, right? And so there's a few different positions. We could also do shorts as well, right? So we can lend to the other side and do, lend this way and do delta neutral. But you can actually increase your leverage here and you can go SOL short. And so, of course, if we're going SOL short, we would probably want to set our position up more like this. And so you can see here as we set up our position into a SOL short position like this, you can see now we're earning as the price goes down and not as it goes up. So this allows you to short or long Solana in a SOL USDC position as well as earn fees while you're doing it, which is pretty cool. I'd like to personally do something closer to a delta neutral position. I'll either do delta neutral, which is like this, or I'll do a slight like long or short on Solana. And so just depending, maybe I'll do a slight long if I think it's more likely that it's going to go up. And I try to stay in range as long as possible. You can see the yields on this are pretty high. And I honestly, this is a really wide range. I think that I could probably stay in range for a pretty long time using something like this. And so I'd be like maybe slightly SOL long. So you can see here on the long side, I'm earning a little bit more. But on the downside, I'm still doing pretty good as long as I'm within range. And the goal of this would be in it for a minimum of 2 days. But even if I could go 3 or 4 days. Now, obviously, if the price of SOL starts pushing up really fast, there's some sort of news that comes out. Well, I can close out of the pool as it moves up, right? So even if I'm at, let's say I'm at 8 hours in, right? So I set up this pool and then I check it later tonight for me. And I see that the price of SOL is moving up really, really fast, right? Well, I only have 5 Solana in here. So just, maybe $900, whatever it is, roughly $900. And so for me, if for some reason after 8 hours, sometime tonight, the price of SOL has moved up pretty aggressive and it's, around the 127 or 128 range, I'm still in profit right here. And if it looks like it's going to continue to push up, well, then I can close out of the pool and create a new pool. They are going to be coming out with some auto rebalancing, which will be really cool because then you don't even need to. You can have it set to where if it ever, like let's say you wanted to be really safe after 8 hours, you're still in profit in these ranges. You can have it set to where if it ever hits right here at 118, that it'll automatically reset for you. Or right here, you could have it on the high side. If it ever hits 129, it'll auto reset. And so that way you'll constantly be earning fees and stay in profit, right? And so there's a lot of different things that they're going to be coming out with, but this calculator is absolutely amazing. Being able to give you the tooling to be able to make really informed decisions about what profit and loss looks like. They'll also have a live PnL calculator that'll be coming out down the road as well. But being able to see based on how long you're in the position, based on the range that you set up, where you'll be in profit and where you're not, is just a ton of amazing information that we haven't had on Solana. Look at any LP, any protocol, it doesn't have this. And this is an amazing tool to be able to see, your potential profit and loss, to be able to make informed decisions about how you want to set up your pool. And so this is just SOL USDC. You can see they have a lot of different pools here. They have Jupe, they have JLP, they have ETH and Bitcoin, they have stable positions, they have Orca SOL, Pingu SOL, Trump SOL, Bonk SOL, right? All these different things. And so this is a really cool thing, right? If you look at JLP SOL or even Jupe SOL, right? These move together. These move in the same direction, roughly, right? I mean, JLP and SOL do move directly together, or mostly together, I should say. The thing is that SOL is going to move more drastic, right? So if they're dumping, then SOL will go down much quicker than JLP, because JLP is a mix of Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and two different stable coins, USDC and USDT. And so because of that, it's going to move with the market, but because it's 33% stables, it's not going to move as much, which is actually really good. JLP is a great token you should look into. But let's say we are setting up a pool here, and we're going to do 2x leverage, and we're doing JLP SOL. And so because we're doing JLP SOL, we can actually keep our range a little bit tighter. We don't need to go 5% because the likelihood of these going out of range is much less likely. Now they can, you still need to watch it. It's not a set it and forget it type thing, but you can set these at like 3% or even 4%. And you can see the yield on this, even just with the 2x leverage, is still 2.5%. That's crazy. Here, let's go a little bit wider even. Let's just play it super safe. Let's go to where we're at like 1% a day. I think we'll probably end up being about 7% on either side. Maybe 7.25. Let's see. Geez, 8% on either side maybe. Yeah, so we can go 8% either way, and we can earn. And so now one thing to think about this, you're getting 1% a day, which is really good. All you have to do here is, wow, that's really good. Let's set up, we're a JLP semi short. We don't want to do that. We want to be this way. So you can see here, oh, that's 11 days. Let's go back down. Let's just do 2 days. So you can see at 2 days within this range, we're in profit for most of the range of the pool, just a little bit outside of it. Sorry, let me adjust this a little bit here. If we wanted to go fully delta neutral, we would set it up like this, which because of how JLP SOL works, because these are two volatile assets, we don't have USDC, the range on this actually is a little bit different. And so to get it closer to delta neutral, I'd actually have to go slightly JLP short here for it to be delta neutral as far as how it moves along my chart here. And so the goal of this would be 2 days or 3 days even, right? Like once you hit 3 days, you're very close to being in profit all the way through the end of your range here, which is pretty cool. And so with something like this, you're earning 1% a day, which again, insane numbers on this. We're only doing 2x leverage. We're pretty close to delta neutral, slightly JLP short. And so because you have two volatile assets, you have to look at how they work together here, right? And so if the price of Solana moves up, Solana will move up faster than JLP will. And so the relation between the two means that we would want to be slightly SOL long or JLP short, right? Those are the same thing, because if we think Solana is going to move up, that means that in relation to JLP, JLP will be shorted. Even though JLP is moving up with Solana, the benefit of that is that they'll move up together, so they should stay in range longer. But because one moves more volatile than the other, then we want to kind of measure it to that. And so I think we would want to do that. Solana's a little bit down today. And I think that it's going to be reversing back up, at least in the short term. And so I'd want to be slightly JLP semi-short, which also means we probably want to have a slightly more on the top end than on the bottom end. And so maybe we would do like 7.5 or 7% on the downside, and maybe like 8.5% on the upside, or maybe 9%, something like that. Again, we're still earning that 1% a day. And if we wanted to be a little more aggressive, we could come down to like 7.5 here and like 5 here. Again, it just depends on how aggressive you want to be. And the goal of this, again, is just to stay in range as long as possible, creating something close to a delta neutral position, because the longer we stay in range, the more we'll be able to earn. And so again, there's just a lot of different options here. JLP SOL won't earn as much as something like SOL USDC, but because it's a more stable pairing as far as them moving in the same direction together, you can go a little tighter on the range. And so again, the whole goal of this is that or the whole point of this is that DefiTuna is coming out with a lot of different tooling that we've never seen before on Solana. That's honestly going to propel it. It's going to be pretty amazing. And the cool thing about this is that because people are leveraging this, you also have the lending side of this. And so you can see on the lending side, we're seeing very high numbers. And so right now, across the board, the lending numbers are down overall. But you can see here on your Solana, if you supply it, you can earn 11.9%. That's amazing. The utilization is only 45% right now. And so as the utilization of this moves up, as more people start borrowing it, which again, we're in a little bit of a down market, so people are being less aggressive. They're being more passive with some of this. But even so, we're earning 11%. You can imagine as this utilization moves up to 60 or 70%, this number goes up to 18, 19, 20%. Sometimes we see this thing go way higher than that. And that's just on Solana. You can see USDC, USDT around 3 and 5%. Their utilizations are very low at 19.4 and 28. But again, as we see the market pick back up, these actually go much higher. The average of USDC, I think on DefiTuna over a 30-day period is around 11 or 12%. All other platforms, it's much lower. You can actually go to Rude Labs. I think DefiTuna posted about it. Let me see if I can pull it up here. And they actually have a chart there. Let me see if I can find it. They have a chart that will show you the, yeah, here it is. So here you go, USDC and SOL yields. You can see that over the 24-hour, 7-day, 30-day APY, you can see on average, DefiTuna is earning almost twice as much as the rest of the market. And you can see here on Solana yields, it is earning over twice as much as the rest of the lending market. And so this is pretty amazing because the high yield that you're able to earn on DefiTuna when you leverage, people are able to pay a little bit more on the borrow side. And because of that, the lending side is much higher. And so if you're looking at lending and trying to get some high rates right now, DefiTuna is an amazing place to be. And then if you're also looking to trade, because again, there's a lot of good pools. The tooling that I'm showing you now is going to be coming out this week. And so this isn't something that's very far off. You'll be able to mess with this in a few weeks. The normal DefiTuna site looks like this. And so you can start messing with it. You can open pools. You just won't have the same tooling to be able to see the different ranges and the potential PnL. This is the current one that you have here. But you can still set up leverage. You can still set up a pool just like you normally would here. And so, I've been able to earn over 1% a day pretty consistently. A lot of times I'm earning 2 or 3%. I have taken some losses because of the market being down and me not picking directionally the best direction. And so that's why I've been more pseudo delta neutral. But overall, I'm still earning in profit on DefiTuna, and it's been really, really, really good. And so I hope you all have learned something from this today. I do plan on coming out with some more different strategies and things like that around this new tooling. And I'm super excited to talk more about it when it comes out with the auto compounding of fees, which I think is also going to be very soon, maybe this week. And then the auto rebalancing is going to be pretty massive, which should be coming out soon as well. And so, I think within the next month, we'll see a ton of new tools, a ton of new features that are coming to DefiTuna. They're shipping super fast, and I'm really, really, really excited about it. And so please let me know if y'all do have any questions. Hopefully this has been useful, and we'll try to make some more videos to talk more about what DefiTuna is doing in the future. Thanks so much.